Ah, yes.
Okay, now I saw it.
5. You caught it this time?
Yes.
Yes. It's Monday.
It is Monday once again. It is 9/11.
It is.
What a day. We all remember where we were on 9/11.
Yeah, yes, I do.
Even you remember that, don't you?
Vaguely, yes. No, I do actually. I remember more about that day than most other days. But yeah, so we want to,
All right, we had our moment.
be respectful. Don't never forget.
Well, you know what's crazy about 9/11 is that Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be on the flight from Boston to LA, and he missed the flight. And then there's an episode of Family Guy where Brian says, I was supposed to be on that flight. And Stewie goes, oh, really? Me too. Because they're both voiced by Seth MacFarlane. Giggity. All right.
Totally missed that. But hey.
Now we can have excitement.
No, So we're not here to talk about that tonight. We are instead, Dan, let's see if you're paying attention. Any idea what number episode of the EriDan Film Festival that this is tonight?
This would be 173.
This would be 168.
Okay, I was close.
That's all right. And your movie night.
It is my movie. I picked this out of 2 or 3 options.
Our 207th movie. Wow. And it's The Big Short from 2015.
It should have been a short film.
Was it though? No. It was quite long. But that's okay. We're going to talk all about The Big Short, and then we're going to pick a movie again like we do. And we're going to talk about some other stuff like we do. And we want you to join us. There's the little URL down there. It's so easy.
Earl.
Please join us.
EriDanLive.com. Or you can just listen and comment. You don't even have to join us.
It's very true. There's so many ways to interact with this show, or not interact at all and just watch vaguely into space. Dan, I have a question for you.
Oh yeah. I was vaguely staring into space.
Well, that's interesting. But not as interesting what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you. I got to make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure I get this right.
Oh boy. Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. Is that happening on one of these Mondays? Is that what you're going to ask?
What was that?
Is there a Jewish holiday on one of the Mondays?
No.
Oh.
Nah, you know what? I'll save it for later.
Oh my God. You can't do that.
Yeah, I think I can.
Do you want to text it to me?
No, I'm going to think about it later. Well, okay. I was going to ask you because I had this happen. I had an interaction with one of the youths today.
The youths?
And they used the phrase tweaking. They were like, "Am I tweaking?" And I was curious if you know what that means.
If you're tweaking.
If you're tweaking.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's twitching.
That would be twitching.
I think tweaking is somebody that's they're like on drugs or something. They're tweaking.
That is actually correct, but that was not that's not the way they were using it. But maybe that can get you to how they were using it.
Did they have a speech impediment and they were saying tricking or tweaking? No. Are you tweaking?
All right, we'll bring some people in and see if they know.
We have some young people on the show.
We do have some young people on the show who might be tweaking right now. I don't even know. They might be twerking right now. I don't even know.
I know twerking.
Would you like to demonstrate?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, okay then. Well, speaking of twerking, Station Wade, always twerking.
Tweaker and a twerker.
Yeah, okay.
Are your kids tweaking?
Hi, Sam.
You hope not? Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. How are you?
All right. How are you guys?
Good.
Are you tweaking?
I don't think so.
It depends on the definition. I mean, I'm not on drugs.
Well, that was the definition that our 24-year-old gave us, so she didn't know any other one.
All right. Well, there's a very similar term that also comes from the same meaning that if I said, you would know what I mean. and we'll keep going and see if anybody else figures this out.
We're doing a weird podcast now.
That's Scott? Yes, it's Scott.
It's Scott. As a baby, he'll grow. Bring Scott back.
What? I see this as an absolute win.
Oh, there he is.
He's twerking.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's doing the chair twerk.
Wow. Let me get some dollar bills out for you.
Make it rain. Wait, let me get the Terry money gun. Hold on, Scott.
There is a rug of someone's face on my chair. You get to guess who it is.
What's a Huda?
What'd you say?
What?
Oh my god. I said there's a rug of somebody's face on my chair. You get to guess who it is.
A rug of somebody's face.
Oh no.
Nicolas Cage.
A Rosen rug?
A Rosen
No,
rug.
there's nobody. There's nobody. I know it has been a little bit. Work is busy. Life is busy.
Well, we're so glad you're here, though.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
You know.
Thank you.
Hey, Scott and I hung out on Wednesday. We'll tell that story later.
Oh, okay,
wow.
sounds cool.
So many stories, so many good stories. All right, let's keep the tweaking train going. Are we ready?
One ring to the moon. One ring tweak.
It's Brittany.
Tweaky.
Brittany,
Come on, raise your arms, Brittany.
What's up, Brittany?
I have one.
She's doing the
Tweaking,
one-handed
maybe
clap.
not, but there has definitely been some drugs
Oh,
involved in my life.
You know, on the pre-show, we talked a little bit about Brittany's arm. She got that while she was tweaking.
tweaked it out of place.
Her mother's a mutter. His mother's a mutter. His father's
Brittany,
a mutter.
do
his
you know
father's a
what
mutter.
this young person would have meant when they asked if they were tweaking?
I mean, there's a few different versions of it that I know.
I thought they asked you if you were tweaking.
Isn't it a commercial? Stop
they asked if
tweaking,
they
call
were tweaking.
peeking.
No, that's here local. Nobody knows that.
Okay.
I definitely didn't know
that. Hello.
That's
I don't
stop
think they were
freaking call
tweeting.
beacon.
I don't think they were tweeting because that would be Xing now.
Yeah, Xing.
They were Xing.
Sam says, I'm not tweaking, but I am willing to learn.
Oh, well, how about that? Well, that's a willingness to learn is all that we're looking for.
We haven't had Sam on in a long
You
time.
still haven't
AKA
found
Dirk.
what we're looking for.
Tweaking when I was growing up used to be like synonymous with like freaking. Like I'm tweaking out, I'm freaking out, I'm elevating.
I'm
But
just freaking.
That's not what they meant either. So
no, that's
I know what it is now.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm sorry, Dave. This conversation can serve no purpose anymore.
I'm sure Dave knows.
I'm pretty sure.
My only reference I know to it is drug related.
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's what I said.
Oddly excited or
Well, and
agitated.
that's where this term comes from, and also where the previous term comes from. That would probably be more relatable to this conversation.
I think
Anybody under 20 is like, you guys are the worst.
on Arrested Development, when Gene Parmesan would show up, Mrs. Bluth she would tweak it. She'd be, Jeannie! That's tweaking.
Wow.
Agitated behavior, but usually due to drugs. Usually.
That's the definition.
That again is not the phrase. That is not how they were using it in this context.
Gene Parmesan.
One more, we'll find out.
The only other definition I know of tweaking is like, something's not quite right, so you're going to adjust it. You're going to tweak it.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
tweaking it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
That's an old person name.
Amanda, yes, no, tweaking?
I mean, I always assumed, it was the like on drugs, like tripping.
Well, okay. So I'll give you a little context where, we were having a confusion about the date of an event. And they were sure that the event was a different date than I was saying. And this person asked
Eric's like, it's 9/11. They're like, no, it was 9/13. Like, no, it's 9/11.
And so...
I mean, it sounds similar to saying, like, are you high? Like, clearly you're wrong. You're insane, right? Like, it sounds like a similar...
The exact terminology that would have been used 2 years ago would be, am I tripping? Which, again, is a drug reference, right? But that's what... That apparently is what the youths are... They don't say tripping. They say tweaking.
They tweaked it.
The youth.
Tweaking. They tweak it. So keep that in mind.
Are you high?
That's right. Or am I high? Exactly.
Wait,
pretty much.
Or if you do a triple take, you're Jack Trippering.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
By the way, Adam says you're not allowed to wear that shirt. mascot after yesterday's
The
performance.
shame.
I can live in the past.
As a Pittsburgher, I have no leg to stand on.
Right, Pittsburghers live in the past.
Talk about,
how many Pittsburghers
farewell
does it take to change a light
fans.
bulb?
Why would you bring that up?
How many Pittsburghers does it take to change a light bulb?
1.
3. 1 to change the light bulb, and 2 to talk about how good the Steelers were in the 70s.
Unbelievable.
I'm just glad I lived in New Orleans for a while.
Are you tweaking?
One of my 3
Are you
S teams
tweaking me?
won. And my fantasy team won.
Wow.
In my
All right.
dreams.
Are we doing this? Are we talking movies, or do you just want to talk about sports?
How about the Giants?
We should have watched the sports
EriDan
movie.
Sportscast. Good night.
Yeah, exactly. See
Where's
ya.
Cody when we need him?
What?
Cody should be here for talking sports.
Well, that's true. And so I guess we should talk about something else.
But hold on. Since we're talking sports.
This has been Sports Talk, when Eric had no idea what anyone was talking about.
Hey, I like soccer just like anyone. If Scott wants to wear that shirt, go for it.
Hey,
it's the football.
Speaking of soccer, tomorrow, the company I work for, Cox Automotive, has the CEO of the company. Stop, Scott, come on.
it never gets old. I'm sorry.
Yes, it does. That's why I said automotive afterwards.
But I'm quitting there and going over to work for Dick's.
That'd be a good Dick's burger.
Speaking of the Hooters,
Oh my God.
they're having like this really cool interview, discussion with the CEO and Jason Sudeikis, aka Ted Lasso, because they can't act, but they can take $250,000 to
AKA jogging suit guy from Saturday Night Live.
Hey, this is unrelated but sort of related. Just FYI, I'm missing the Lieutenant Dan band right now to be here with you people.
Oh,
Just so you know, you better feel special because he's in
Are you
Erie.
on campus?
No, he's in Erie tonight.
gonna just tell him you
At like
have the
some like
measles.
park in town.
Was this Gary Sinise?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, talk about taking a character all the way. Does he cut his legs off for the show?
I don't know.
He comes out like Dorf.
Yeah,
he comes out like Dorf on his knees. It's really awkward.
Lieutenant Dan, can you play that?
But it makes you want to watch
Lieutenant
Forrest
Dan?
Gump. But we already did that, so.
Well, he has to tweak to make sure he fits the role.
I'm starting to think we don't have a movie tonight. Did we forget to pick a movie last week?
Well, Gary Sinise is The Big Short.
Without yeah, you're right.
Because he's
Wow.
There you
What the
go.
hell is going on?
Here, I'll be real honest. Yesterday, about halfway through the day, I was like, "Oh my god, I forgot to watch the movie." And I was like, "Oh my god, what is the movie?" I did not remember. I'm like, "Well, who picked the movie this week?"
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was like, "Oh yeah, I watched it 3 or 4 days ago."
So I watched
And
The Big
picked-
Lebowski instead.
No, I watched Big.
It would work too.
I actually watched Up in the Air as well. I watched both of my movie that I almost chose.
I have considered The Big Lebowski as a movie to pick.
But no Superman.
I've not watched Superman yet.
Well, you could have watched Aaron Seltzer's parody of the movie.
Zero. There is a 0% chance that your subprime losses will stop at 5%.
Oh, gee.
I thought you were predicting somebody's score there for a second. 0. 0.
Can't
Or
give a zero.
sports, yes.
All right, let's jump in. We're already 15 minutes in. Let's talk about a movie, shall we? It's The Big Short. Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, Joe Margaro. I have no idea.
How about John?
And directed by Adam McKay. We've done multiple movies by Adam McKay now. $28 million budget, $130 million worldwide gross. Critics at an 89, audience at an 88. Dan Rosenberg. Why stocks and bonds and mortgages? What's going on?
It's a really interesting movie, and it's a historical piece because there's a lot of facts in it. I do remember. I remembered it being fun that they had like weird celebrities explaining what was going on, and I didn't time it, but we had. Was it Margot Robbie, Barbie?
Yes.
And
So
Ryan
look at that.
Gosling is Ken.
And Ryan Gosling. So here they are in the movie.
Absolutely.
I actually bought. I think I bought this on DVD as a previously viewed.
Oh wow.
I think so.
Nice.
I could be wrong, but I think I remember seeing it that way the first time. And I remember the housing crisis very well. I remember people giving mortgages to anybody that had a pulse. Somehow we bought a condo and then sold it. And then all of a sudden, when we were applying for another house, they're like, yeah, you don't qualify. And we're like, well, why not? Well, you're not working. Like, well, that didn't stop you before. So I can't get $1 million house in Santa Monica. Oh, I guess we'll keep renting. And then we'll move to Bainbridge Island. And then I was working, but I wasn't like a 1090, or I was a 1099. So it wasn't like I had a regular paycheck. That was the problem. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's an entertaining movie, and I think Steve Carell with a bad wig is always entertaining.
It's money. It's money.
That wig is so bad.
It's not a great wig.
Now, are blonde people offended? Hair. What was that, Brittany?
I said I couldn't get over Christian Bale's hair
and his makeup.
Yeah, it just that was.
He looked terrible.
Yeah, he had Mark Cuban's hair from 8 years ago,
and his eye.
Yeah.
Now this movie won quite a bit of awards and was nominated for a lot, because I remember that was the first I had heard about it was during the Oscars of 2015.
Yeah,
and so and the performances are excellent. I mean, there are excellent performances.
Adam even liked the performances, but he was confused throughout the entire movie.
Exactly.
I understand it's a confusing movie, and for those of you who are having trouble understanding, here's Rick Springfield in a bathroom.
How long ago did you prepare that?
I just found that on the internet.
Or was that AI?
No, I did that.
And here's Anthony Bourdain.
Oh my God.
The late Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
I extremely enjoyed the humor throughout this movie. That was peppered in when you started to feel really stupid.
Yes, they timed it out very well.
The lighthearted nature of basically, look, you're not going to get this, right? Unless this is something that you truly care about deeply or want to go get a degree in, you're probably not going to understand all of this. But you don't need to. You just need to get the general premise of what's happening.
And that's why they did it the way they did it. They make it confusing on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
So there's the derivatives and the betting on bets, and just shorting in general is confusing to me. What I thought would have been really funny if I would have made this movie, if I was Adam McKay, I would have had somebody explain how trading places work with the orange juice. Because that would have been funny too. That they go, okay, if you're really confused, let's explain trading places to you real quick.
Yeah.
Because that might help. Because that was similar that they bought on.
If Ralph Bellamy and Don Amici were still around, maybe they would.
Yeah, they should have leaned into the comedy.
We have done 2 other Adam McKay movies on the EriDan Film Festival. Could anyone name any of them? Either one of them.
He's best known for comedies, obviously. Although he did more serious movies after this one was a hit.
Sure.
He did that movie about the.
We didn't watch Anchorman.
Didn't he write that movie about the Chicago 6 or whoever? No, it was the group of people that. It was the young folks who were accused of killing or molesting a woman in Central Park.
The Wildings.
Thank you.
He has frequently worked with Will Ferrell.
That would lead you to one of the movies.
This is gonna be kind of like a Daily Driver.
That would lead you to one of the movies we did.
Well,
I remember what Will Ferrell movies we've watched.
It's not the
he did Don't Look Up that my mom recommended.
That is correct. He did Don't Look Up. That was one of the ones we did. And
Adam's right. That's the one about the end of the world.
And the other one was The Campaign.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell, yeah.
Yep. So there. So if you
Rebecca says she's glad she's not the only one.
Yeah.
Well, and I liked it wasn't just the celebrities breaking the fourth wall either. It was also like we didn't really find out about this by picking up the thing off the
right.
we did. But
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of how like a movie like Oppenheimer had a similar issue with trying to just explain the physics and also the politics of the whole event. Like if you miss one thing, you kind of fell off, and that was like the one weakness of the movie for me. But this has the advantage of like hey, you've actually lived through this. Let's try to get you through that pain and also be funny. Like if they had leaned a little bit more into the comedy, I think it probably would.
Also, it's sort of poking fun at the movie making process itself, because they're sitting here saying, this isn't the way it happened, but the way we just told it is a lot more fun. So we're going to do it a different way, but we're going to tell you that we're doing it the way it didn't happen.
Exactly.
You know?
Right. Absolutely. So don't think this is historical.
This is not a documentary.
Right.
Literally having Margot Robbie play herself, she would have been like 13 years old in 2008.
And she was drinking real Dom Perignon, she said.
Yeah.
There you go.
200 a bottle.
I do think the fact that it's like in living memory for most people who saw this does help with the explanations of stuff, just because like people probably know like the broad beats of it, that like so even if you don't understand the derivative what exactly a CDO is or like what all these things are, it's like, okay, people made some stupid decisions, but we know by the end they're going to lose, like banks are going to collapse, and like we recognize the names, like, oh, Goldman Sachs, yeah, that doesn't work out well for them. So like I feel like name recognition when they like zoom in up like the names of these banks and you're like, oh, it's gonna get
Lehman Brothers.
It does, yeah, it definitely I think helps.
Adam says, in terms of enjoying the movie, the constant confusion really hurt it in terms of me enjoying it.
Exactly. Me too.
Well, Adam, I watched Up in the Air, so you don't have to, and that had so much romantic comedy that you would have vomited. So I'm glad I didn't pick that one, Adam.
Yeah, he wouldn't like that.
This is my fourth time seeing The Big Short, and it actually gets to around 3 or 4 times. You're like, oh, okay, I get this now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get the overall gist of it, and I understand that you can't. It's like a house of cards. I mean, you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and like when they went to the strip club, and the stripper's like, "Oh, I have 5 houses." He just kept buying houses and then refinancing them. I mean, a friend of mine bought a house, and while it was in escrow, he got it under contract for $100,000 more before it even officially bought it. Somebody else like, "I'll take it." For $100,000 more. That's how crazy the market was. Like it was like the car market during the pandemic, where people were paying stupid money for cars.
Yeah,
because they're worried they would never be able to get a car again.
It was also a little weird how late in the movie Brad Pitt appeared. You would think a star that big, they'd have him much earlier.
Well, he was in the last 10 minutes for 12 Years a Slave. He was also the producer of the movie.
And we got to see Schmidt from New Girl.
That's right.
I saw him and I was like,
I can't see him as
Chaotic
Schmidt.
Chaotic.
It's a similar enough character that it's okay. It's not like he was trying to, but like it was very disconcerting when suddenly.
And I loved him and his sidekick at the job fair at the end.
Actually, we should just agree. This is actually the origin story of Schmidt and him moving in for New Girl after the short happens.
David pointed out that his friend in that scene was the guy who is from Lancaster, PA, who played the King in Hamilton on Broadway.
Oh.
Yeah, he's the original Broadway star of that. So.
Adam has a good takeaway that all Wall Street people made money at the expense of us regular folk.
Yeah, very
That's how it works.
That's
pretty much
happening.
You got the message.
So you're doing your Bernie Sanders. Yeah, the 1%. The 1% that's ripping off the 99%.
Income inequality. There is 99.4% of all money is earned by 1% of the.
Yeah, and if Eric wants to play that
Margot Robbie
clip again, can you guess the number of people who got arrested for all this?
Yeah, the one guy who like.
Yeah, in like Switzerland or something. Yeah,
where they kind of may take it a little bit important.
And I actually have a personal history to what happened because my dad actually worked for WAMU during.
Man!
And he actually was one of the 4 guys there who said, "You can't keep doing this. This is going to happen." And then when it did happen, and they had to start selling the company, guess who actually got let go instead?
Yeah, they fired him real quick, right?
Because he's not a team player.
Yeah, totally.
Clearly.
What's crazy? This actually came up when we were driving past the WAMU Theater. At the
historic WAMU Theater.
There's a WAMU Theater still attached to our football stadium here, which is now called Lumen Field. I'm like, how could they not change that? Like Chase Bank took them over. Why wouldn't they change the sign to say Chase?
Yeah, I mean, at least when the crypto stuff blew up like a year or 2 ago, after having buying all the stadium naming rights and the mega Super Bowl ads and all of Matt Damon doing his TV pitches and all of that, you had to sort of be sticking your head in the sand to ignore the fact that these were largely fake investments. Yeah. You were speculating, and it was pretty hard to ignore that you were speculating. Yeah. In this case, people honestly thought they were investing in safe bank backed AAA quality investments, and the reality of it was being hidden from them unless you were an absolute genius to dig through the layers.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job at showing like all the layers of conflicts of interest going on. How like we saw them chatting with all these middlemen who were like, "Yeah, I know it's stupid, but I'm like passing off on my risk," and then the person who they pass off their risk to passes it off to somebody else. So it's like obscured so much that by the time people are investing in it, it's like, yeah, that seems fine. And then like the lady who is the SEC rep is like, "Oh, I'm in town to put up my resume with all the different banks and like just all these different like layers of conflicts of interest." They do really
or
good
the Standard & Poor's rating lady who's like, well, if we don't give them a good rating, then they'll just go across the street to Moody's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're buying ratings from you. I didn't say that.
And the fact that you know that like the collapse is coming from like the beginning of the movie, I think it was also really because like I didn't know this is my first time seeing this movie, so I didn't know like some of the like the lower level mechanics of how that actually went down. So it was really interesting when all the news reports coming in. It's like, oh, but mortgages are being foreclosed on. It's like, but the bonds are still going up. That's really weird. It kind of.
Well, and I remember how angry so many people were, even though, to be honest, it was the right thing to do. How angry people were when the government bailed them out. I mean, there were people angry. I mean, how can you bail out these billionaires? This is when the truth is the billionaires wouldn't have borne the brunt of it.
No.
Right.
Is the truth of it.
Yeah.
And yes, you did bail them out, but you also bailed out a lot of regular people too. And I also remember how much Ford crowed that unlike GM and Chrysler, we didn't take any bailout money. It was dumb luck. They happened to have secured a massive line of credit like 6 months before. It was the only reason they didn't have to take the bailout. And Dollar Bank locally in Pittsburgh had banners up proclaiming the fact that they did not receive any government bailout money.
Yeah.
Well, they've got dollar in their name. I mean, yeah, it's insanity. But we did go almost. We went longer not talking about the movie than Brad Pitt
was in the movie.
All right, is it time for final thoughts? Is it time to rate?
I guess we could just go ahead and start rating. If you're in the comments, you can rate. I was in the middle of the sentence. But if you do rate, you get to be on the wheel to pick next week's movie.
It's a very good point. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll go first since I picked the
you
movie.
should.
It is an award-winning movie. It is a well-written movie. It is a well-performed movie, which are all the criteria I have for being a good movie. Yes, it is a little confusing, but so is trigonometry. Although a movie about trigonometry, I would not give a high score to. Although I wouldn't be able to figure out how to calculate the score for a movie about trigonometry. So I'm going to give this movie a solid 92.
Woo!
It's an A for me.
Wow.
There we go. We'll go to the writers.
Writers.
So yeah, it was a pretty interesting movie, and I could follow it. It was nice having the actors give us the layman's terms of everything what happened. It was a little confusing where they would be jumping around the different characters talking about the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
That got a little kind of would screw you up watching it. But yeah, it was very good performances, and and it was something historical and kind of helped people understand it. So I'll give it an 80.
80. Weed.
I have no idea because I had no idea what was happening. The makeup was bad. The wigs were bad.
It was 2008.
Yeah. I don't know, but everybody did a good job. So I don't know. How do you do that? How do you? I could not follow. The comedy brought it up. The actors brought it up. I don't know. I'm gonna say 78.
There you go. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Oops.
Play the guitar on the MTV.
There we go.
How dare you?
I meant to bring you up and I hit the wrong button.
It's okay. Elena can bring me up. Speaking of the big shit, so I actually think this movie is also really well made for what it's trying to say. I think the comedy is good. I think the performances are definitely the highlight of the whole thing, and it is pretty well edited, especially trying to get a weird style across where you're just traveling and zooming across time and back and forth between this fourth wall break. I think honestly the biggest weakness of the movie for me, outside of anything we've already brought up, is actually the cinematography. I thought that if it had actually taken a non-evasive approach, kind of like Spotlight, where they weren't trying to lionize everybody who was in there and actually make them look bigger and actually just be a non-invasive cinematography style where the camera wasn't moving. I think he kind of meant to make this like a mockumentary in some ways, which is why there's a very active camera. It kind of does suck you out a little bit or make you feel stressed. I think the editing should have been the highlight of it. But with that said, it's an Adam McKay movie. It's going to be, either you get it or you don't. Mm-hmm. And he likes to do that to you constantly. I would probably say it's well made. It got the nominations that it deserved. I'll probably give it about 78.
78.
I like how you're so nonchalant. I'd probably give it about a 78.
And you're like,
makes me feel redeemed.
I got you.
So I really like this movie. I like sort of historical movies like this, and I didn't really have much of an issue following it. I also listen to a lot of economics podcasts for fun, so this sort of topic is not
party girl
out of my interest area. But I did find this really interesting, and I thought I thought it was really well made. I thought the humor was good. There was a bit near the middle where it kind of seemed to drag. I don't remember exactly where, but there was a part where I was like, okay, we can get to the actual collapse already, please. But I mean, there was a lot of groundwork to lay, so I mean, it's fair. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was also nice that it was explained something that happened within my lifetime that I was vaguely aware of, but it's nice actually learning the details of, and I thought they did a really good job of it. And I at least for me, I thought it was a nice balance between explaining the concepts, but not explaining them super in depth. So just giving the high level of subprime mortgage is crappy mortgage. It's just don't even worry about the subprime bid. Just I thought they can boil it down to an okay level. I mean, they could have done more, but I mean, it's hard to. There's a lot of complexity. Anyway, I really liked it. I'm gonna give it a 91.
91. There you go. All right. Oh. Dave had a clicking noise happening, so I muted him, but then he unmuted himself, and then I'll.
Yep, that's me.
He was tweaking.
It is a really well-made movie, and it did something that's very hard, which is it took something as dry as a financial crisis, and not only made a good movie about it, made an entertaining movie about it. And that's quite a credit to the writers and the director, who are somewhat the same person. He was one of the co-writers. My only really two criticisms of it, and I thought the performances overall were excellent. I agree with Amanda. It dragged a little bit. What the era where, the banks are failing, and why aren't these investments going down? Why do they keep actually going up? Why are these bonds rising? They stretched that out a little too long.
Yep.
And they had one too many storylines. I loved Mike and Mark, the two guys, even though they had some funny scenes. To be honest, their storyline with Brad Pitt, I think you could have lost and had a very tight movie. I don't think you needed three interleaving storylines. I think two would have sufficed, because the two that they had were engaging and entertaining enough.
It had Brad Pitt.
That's why.
I know it had Brad Pitt, but put him in some other role. Put him in the role of the really aggressive guy who's trying to sell the guys on the investment, at the gym and all that. It still worked really well. I'll take 1 point off for Steve Carell's hair. But it still was a really good movie. I was going to give it a 92, but I'll knock it down to a 91 for the bad wig.
Wow. All right. So who's left? We have Brittany.
Me.
Lefty, as we call you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's my life. Which is See, I would disagree. I appreciated the cinematography of it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was different than a lot of other stuff that I watched. So that kept me engaged, sort of. And I liked when they did the explanations of things, because it did help me understand things, sort of. But also, I I have no money, so I have no interest in buying stock in anything or shares or and so like I was like, oh yeah, must be nice to have all this money because I don't. So you do you. Like
Then how'd you get that gaming setup?
We piece it out on Marketplace for $50 at a time. Okay. And so I don't know. It was good. I don't know that it's something that I would ever watch again. I think I will also go with a 78.
Ooh, lots of 78s.
Yeah. Do we do Rebecca 78?
Another 78.
So you watched it for the first time about a month ago for her. This is a so-so movie. Probably won't watch it again. Nothing egregiously bad about it. It's a 78 for her. So we have Eric, my mom, and Adam left.
Oh, did you get a score from your mom?
I haven't yet.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I agree a lot with what's being said. This is a difficult topic to make an entertainment movie about, and I agree that it does a really good job at that. Whether it's accessible to everybody, and not every movie has to be, but I feel like I struggle with the length of it because I agree. I think there's a little too much story in there and a little too much. I would have liked to have seen them, make it a little tighter. But I did really enjoy watching it. But for me, I'm not sure I'd watch it again. I'm not sure I had such a good time that I would want to devote another 2.5 hours to it. So for me, I'm like 85. So I'm going there, 85.
All right. And this is like 100 from Adam.
I know. Get ready.
Ooh.
Hold on to your pen.
I liked all the performances. Like I said earlier, not being able to fully follow what was going on really hurt as far as being watchable goes. 60.
Nice.
Awesome.
It was 60 times better than Cats.
That's still a pretty high score for Adam.
That joke is never going to get old.
Absolutely not. So we're not sure about Dan's mother.
Hold on. I texted her.
Oh, okay.
We'll see in a moment.
Talk amongst yourself.
I know, right?
We can move on.
Well, we do have an announcement to make about the TV show for the end of the month.
Oh,
and I do apologize for that.
All right, Dave, go for it.
Yes, I think several people, maybe all of us, maybe most of us saw in chat. I decided to pull an audible, and much as I love Columbo, and I love Columbo, the episodes are long enough and to a certain degree even similar enough in some ways that I decided people would get more enjoyment out of a different show. And ultimately the whole point of this, especially the TV shows that we're not even rating, the whole point is to have fun and to see something that you enjoy or to see something that you hadn't seen before but you really get some joy out of. So I switched to the Twilight Zone, the original, not any of the remakes. I posted 2 episodes. I'm going to follow up with more. It's a very busy week for me, but I will follow up with more.
Nice.
Now, Columbo, the episode 1, season 1, which, depending on where you're watching it,
Bochco and Spielberg,
yeah, Steven Spielberg directed it, which is wild. And Columbo's so freaking weird. Like he's like, let me make you some eggs.
It's a very dry episode. It's still fun. I enjoy it, but it's a very dry episode. Some of the later ones have a lot more humor in them.
And you've got Sean Cassidy and David Cassidy's dad, or one of the Cassidy's dad. Oh no,
he's so creepy.
Both.
Yeah, I think I watched 3 or 4 episodes before I decided I'm enjoying this, but I'm not sure how many other people will. So that's why I made the change.
Well, here's what I propose, because a lot of us did watch a few episodes,
and I appreciate that.
We can still talk about both.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point.
I've got my mom's score.
Woohoo!
Had trouble figuring out when it first. Then she first. I had trouble figuring it out at first. Then realized what it was about. Vision's not always working because she's having trouble with one of her eyes. Captions are not always readable, so she gave it a 75.
75.
I thought you were going to say 78 for a second.
Yeah, so close.
So close. Not my worst scored movie. Definitely not my best.
No, not.
Yeah, well, that's all. Nobody gave it a bad score.
No, the lowest was like the 60 from Adam. That's really not bad.
And that's like I said, that's 120.
Yeah.
I was like, and that's a really good Adam score. So
believe me, up in the air, Adam probably would have given an 8.
And I think part of the reason I didn't mind the confusing aspect of it is one of the premises of the movie was these are deliberately obfuscated financial investments intended to be be
Right.
So,
oh, absolutely. All right, beating out the Weird Al Yankovic story. It is The Big Short, coming in with an 80.80 on page 2 of the giant list.
80.
Could not beat out the Chamber of Secrets, but Big Short coming in with an 80.80.
But look how close it is to Trading Places.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there's definitely something there.
Hey, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is pretty high too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. So, all right. Well, now, the moment we're really all here is a look to the future to see what we're going to watch for next week. Oh, yeah. It's the Wheel of Reels, which is getting a little out of hand.
It looks like the beginning of the Twilight Zone.
We've got quite a few people who have a lot of...
There's a lot of Susans on there.
There is a lot of Susans on there.
And a lot of Erics.
There's a lot of Eric on there, too. So I'm going to give it a shuffle.
A little bit of Eric on my wheel.
And we're going to spin.
I know.
Can't even see Adam. Oh my goodness! Look at that, Adam. Wow, Adam
his patience and loyalty have been rewarded.
Adam had 6 spaces on the wheel compared to some people.
And Adam also says he's glad we changed shows. Columbo is beyond paint by numbers TV.
I don't agree, but I get it. And that's part of the reason I changed. I knew it wasn't going to be for everybody.
I don't think it's paint by numbers TV. I think it's paint by numbers Columbo.
How about Cats 2? All Dogs Go to Hell.
If only.
How about Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist?
Oh.
How about Barry Katz?
How about Barry Katz?
Hey.
All right. Well, let's give Adam a few minutes to think about what movie he would like to have everybody watch, and we'll talk about what else people have been watching.
That's not good. Wow, I guess you can't win anything.
We gotta get some of that.
It reminds me of Hugh Grant in Music and Lyrics, where they always had to get hip replacements.
That was such a good movie.
Absolutely.
It was very. It was just slightly behind The Big Short on the chart there.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Nice dash.
Awesome. So, did anybody watch anything this week besides The Big Short?
So, Scott and I watched some concerts.
Ah.
We got to see the Hooters. And they played the little keyboard blowing thingy.
It's called a Hooter.
It's actually a Hooter? Is that
it's
a Hooter?
called a Hooter. That's why they're called the Hooters.
I did not know that. I thought
That's
they
funny.
liked chicken wings.
They're from Philadelphia.
They are a Philadelphia band. And Tommy Two-Tone, we actually standing in line while he was performing.
Nice.
And of course, it was Rick Springfield's concert. But what was funny was as we were standing in line, I was like, I cannot believe how long this line. It wasn't moving because every woman, it's all women in front of us, and they're all like, "Can I see this one and this and this?" And they're like, "No, can I see that one?" And it took forever. And then, of course, when we got up there, first thing Scott said was, "Can I see this one and this one and this size?" And we're all holding. We're doing the exact same thing.
My
lopsided.
So patient. Okay.
Yeah, but we got a nice T-shirt or two. Yeah, Adam wants to know where his invite was to Rick Springfield. Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I only had tickets for I just had some crew tickets. Sorry, Adam. But they did put us in the 5th row dead center, which is really weird because my big dorky head's like just sticking up above everybody like this.
And we had so much leg room.
And the woman beside me was like, "So how many times have you seen him?" I'm like, "I don't know, 15 or 20. She's like, "Newbie." And I was about to pull my cell phone.
Wow.
Let me show you something, Miss Newbie, but I didn't do it.
Wow, the Rick shaming.
Although Scott did.
They're so judgmental.
I did this to get Leo to come out of his shell, despite being totally there. No, it was a lot of fun, and I told Dan the first song that is going to hit the stage is going to be our theme song. And he said, no, it's going to be the same song.
That.
No, it's going to be the same song he plays every single time. The video package starts, and guess what the first song is?
The theme to It's a Lot.
That's so cool.
And then I got the drummer threw this to me.
No, he threw that at you.
Yeah,
he threw it to me.
Let's be clear.
He threw it to me. The show was over. He looked at me and he's like, "Can you catch it?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he threw it, and I one hand snagged it.
Yeah, and I made a really loud noise so everybody knew that he one arm snagged it.
So that's what we watched this week.
And then, he texted Rick while we were just getting out of our seats, and by the time we got to the car, he had already texted us back.
Crazy.
Emailed us back. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Crazy.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate
Which
you.
is crazy to think that the first thing he does after the show is check his email.
Clearly no. You know what?
It's just a business meeting for him.
Yeah. He has bathtubs to sell.
That's right. Unbelievable. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay, Adam just sent me a suggestion.
Oh boy.
And I don't think Adam was paying attention last week. So I say go for it, Adam.
Oh no.
Oh,
Superman?
Is it the other Top Gun?
Oh my goodness.
It's got to be Superman.
Could be. It might be.
Christopher Reeves?
Could it be?
Can you read my mind? Can you read Adam's mind?
So Adam, last week we were discussing that original movie, and Eric thought I was going to pick it.
Yeah.
And I didn't, and I thought maybe I should. I thought we'd already watched it.
No, there it is.
You always think we've already watched every movie, Dan.
It's true. Dan has.
I'm living.
78.
Dan, you're tweaking.
What's that streaming on?
You're straight tweaking. There it is.
You'll believe a man can fly.
On Max, it's on Hulu with Max.
Okay.
Oh, it's the actor who plays Clark Kent. Who's he?
Well, it's only $2.99. So
there you go.
If you can.
Wow, here we go. 1978.
Oh, Lord.
Where were you in 1978?
I accidentally watched the George Reeves version.
Watching Superman.
I used to love
Love
watching the show.
George Reeves. Yes.
If you told me that Gene Hackman would be the last living person on that poster, I wouldn't believe you.
Right?
Wow.
Now you're all sad. It's great.
Thanks, Scott.
I'm excited for this choice, Adam.
Miss Tessmacher!
And take a screenshot of this. Who's going to be the last living person on this screen, you know?
Wow.
Did you give him my address? I told you not to do that.
Stacy and I lived down in Virginia, and we weren't
Is
very
this why
far.
you're asking
from
about that manhunt in Pittsburgh earlier?
It's not in Pittsburgh. It's in Eastern PA.
Richard and I have started watching the Superman and Lois with Tyler Hoechlin on HBO. So we're enjoying that one.
Adam says Superman 2 is great as well. That's because Superman 2 is actually like part of the first movie. Like there was one big
Superman 2 is more action oriented. It doesn't have the silly music and stuff that sort of hurt Superman 1.
This is why I feel like we already watched this, because we talked about the Donner cut.
We have. We've talked about Superman, but we never watched it.
Superman, but we've never actually.
I think we probably talked about it a lot when we watched Somewhere in Time.
Yeah.
I hope this scores better.
Okay.
I'm sure it will score better.
Wade, you started to say something, and then you were interrupted
Yeah,
by something.
Stacy and I lived down in Virginia whenever he fell off his horse. Yeah.
Did you push him?
I don't know what he was playing, but nah.
No, it wasn't like he was riding a donkey. Wade would have taken that out.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't have had anything to ride.
Too soon.
No, but we lived down by there. I
The
remember
donkey?
that was like the local news, big time local
was
news. When we
huge.
had it.
That was big national
It
news.
was on every
Should I
day.
tell the joke, Dan? Should I wait?
Which joke?
The joke I always tell.
Yeah, go ahead. No, save it for next
it's
week.
okay. I'll save it for next week.
We did go eat at a restaurant called the Tipsy Cow. And Eric, I told everybody the cow tipping story.
Mm-hmm.
Did it work?
Did it work?
I think that cow tipping doesn't really happen.
I don't know. All I know is the first. So I was at Eric's house. We were talking about waitresses or something, and then all of a sudden Eric goes, "You know about cow tipping, right?" And I'm like, "Well, what's that?" And in my head, I'm trying to process: is it giving a tip to a large waitress? Is it taking the creamer that's shaped like a cow and putting the tip in that? I'm like, what could cow tipping be? And then he goes, "You know how cows sleep standing up, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "You run at them really fast and knock them over," and I just lost it. That was like the funniest thing I'd ever heard. because it was such a left turn from what I was.
You never heard of that growing up?
No, that I was in high school, or, like 8th or 9th grade. That's when I heard about it.
What hole were you living in?
I didn't learn about it till college, so.
I heard about that growing up as a kid. People talked about cow tipping. Yeah,
I learned about it from Tommy Boy, which is a quote in the restaurant about it too.
Right, me too.
Rob Lowe and Chris.
I lived next to Blackhawk Golf Course. There weren't a lot of cows around, but I still heard about it.
Oh, tell us more.
Wow. I should ask my dad.
Speaking of football, Aaron Rodgers got hurt in the first drive of the Jets and is out for the game.
The Jets had the best luck.
Yeah. Eric's like, who's Aaron Rodgers?
The Jets deserve what they get.
What happened to Steve Rogers? I'm so confused.
No,
right,
Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin and Steve Rogers got together.
I watched 6 movies this week.
Wow.
Are you okay?
No, but that's okay. That's a whole other story. So I'm curious if
they were all Hey Vern movies.
They were. It was the entire Police Academy series in one day. No, but I'm curious to hear people's comments about these movies because actually, I thought all of them were pretty darn good.
My mom and dad liked
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh,
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
I can talk about it.
Thoughts, Scott?
I thought it was a necessary movie because of where they left us.
Yep,
a necessary movie.
That's the only reason this movie exists. But with that said,
no, the movie exists to make piles of money.
Yes, this is true.
True, and they figured that it was going to be okay against Barbenheimer, and boy, I thought, for the story it was trying to tell, which was about a guy not just admitting that he still has something, but also like putting up the hat. It did its job. I kind of wish that it had happened a lot sooner because what makes Indiana Jones so freaking fun for me to watch, and literally Indiana Jones is like, again, I said this before, like one of those top 3 movies why I wanted to do what I do and why I applied to USC. Like it's about the fact that it's actually a stunt show. It literally is about everything that's happening on camera, and knowing that this is a throwback to how they used to make movies in the 40s and 50s. The CGI kind of killed Crystal Skull, and it kind of does that for me too, because you're like, there's no way he's doing this.
Even into the 70s, really.
Right, exactly. So I love Harrison Ford to death. He's the cranky grandpa and old uncle that we all love. It was definitely Phoebe Waller-Bridge's movie until maybe someone complained and they kind of pulled a bit more of her story away, which kind of let the movie feeling a little empty, in my opinion. But James Mangold, one of the best underrated directors right now. I thought it was probably in the 80s for me, 70s or 80s.
Yeah, it's a good
time. We were watching a rerun of Jimmy Kimmel that Harrison Ford was on just before the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he was plugging Call of the Wild. And Kimmel produced a fake movie poster of Call of the Wild that had all Trump quotes on it, like, it was the perfect call, there was nothing wrong with that call, it's the greatest call ever, and Ford was almost rolling on the floor laughing. He's usually pretty reserved on talk shows. He's a bit of a curmudgeon at times. He was absolutely losing it. It was fun to watch.
That is hard. Yeah, and the one time I've seen him laugh really hard was when Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert did the Pablum sketch at the Emmys. The award shows are not Pablum. Reality TV celebrates the human condition by revealing what's beautiful in all of us. Colbert's playing it hard. He's like, it warps the minds of our children and loosens the resolves of our allies.
Wow.
It's a really great clip. You should find it. But that's the only time I've seen Harrison Ford crack up like that. Sorry. What's your next movie, Eric?
The Fablemans.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, Spielberg.
Yeah, that's a good
movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Shot.
The Spielberg.
It's long. It's a long movie, and it's a very serious movie. It is not my typical movie, but it's really well done. And sad in a lot of ways, but really well done.
Yeah.
That last part could have been a short film that someone released like 20 years ago. Like if George Lucas has like the inspirations for Star Wars in the background, this is literally Spielberg's story. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
All
right. Ford versus Ferrari.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie.
That was good.
You're on a good little spurt here. This is good.
I think The Big Short kind of inspired some of these. I really enjoyed Ford versus Ferrari, and it made me want to watch a Herbie movie.
Our girls, our daughters,
Wow, that's a jump.
our daughters both saw that movie a couple times. Our daughters.
It was really good in the theater because you have a lot of racing scenes where the way it's shot is like you're sitting right there at the edge of the racetrack.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Yeah. All right, Swingers.
Wow.
That's a switch of direction from the Fablemans to Swingers.
I mean, it kind of is relevant to the movie still, but
it was a long week. So swinging back to 1997, the very handsome Jon Favreau, all kind of ripped and muscular.
Right? You don't expect that. And then he becomes like your uncle in Elf, and then it's just I'm the Iron Man director from here. It's really interesting.
Jon Favreau. Okay,
but I enjoyed that a lot too. I had never seen it before, and that's always been on my watch list. All right, and my last two. These are my favorite two of the 6 that I watched. Cats. No, I'm kidding.
You had to see it.
Pirate movie.
Had to see. So someday. These might be on my record. This might be one of my choices on the wheel.
This will be your double feature.
This would be a very odd double feature. So 2017's Lady Bird.
Oh, that's a good movie.
That's a
very good movie. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that a lot.
Very well acted. Is that Laurie Metcalf? Is that
Laurie Metcalf? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's again
and Saoirse Ronan, right?
At times, but really funny throughout. Written by the same person who written
and really touching. It was an amazingly poignant portrayal of a relationship between a mother and daughter. It was really well done.
Absolutely. So I highly recommend that. And Nimona. Now, so I will recommend Nimona. If you've not heard about this, and I just went, there I am.
Your camera can't take that either.
Nimona is streaming on Netflix. This is a recent release. It's animated.
Wait, is this the one with Tony Danza? Nimona?
No, this is not Who's the Boss.
This is the movie that got dropped and somehow
it got dropped by
actress.
Disney.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And is on Netflix right now, and I highly recommend Nimona.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much about it outside of the fact that it is completely enjoyable, super fun. Yeah, I don't want to say anything else about it. But if you like animated movies at all, and you're looking for something a little different, this is awesome.
The guys that directed this actually directed the only good Blue Skies movie, Spies in Disguise, the Will Smith pigeon one. It actually is surprisingly good. No, I recommend that movie quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And this has been Eric's Weeks in Movies.
This has been Eric's Movie Talk.
Yeah,
we are up to date on Only Murders in the Building and thoroughly enjoying season 3.
I am 3 episodes behind because I've been watching movies.
I am all the episodes behind. I haven't finished the first one yet.
What's wrong with you?
Oh no, I did finish the first one. I haven't finished. I started the second one.
And I watched 3 or 4 Columbos.
Well, there's something.
What I don't understand is he made eggs for her. Then he goes, I'm going to need something to put these shells in. How about the garbage?
Right?
Why would he grab a bowl and put the eggshells in a bowl?
I think you're overthinking this, Dan.
The secret to the good eggs: milk.
Well, Reagan thinks so too.
Jack Cassidy, very, very swarmy.
Oh, always.
He's always.
Oh yeah. Yes. And he also was in he played a magician in another Columbo, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, he did.
Was he in a Wild West too?
No. No. He was not.
Poor David Cassidy's dead.
I know.
Shirley Jones dead.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty
Jack
sure.
Cassidy's dead. So Sean Cassidy's the last
Ted
one.
Cassidy's dead.
Who's Ted Cassidy?
You don't know who Ted Cassidy? Lurch on the Addams Family.
Oh, he was Ted Cassidy?
It's been a cousin.
Unrelated.
No relation.
No related.
Number 3, the Large.
On Rick and Morty.
Butch Cassidy's been dead a long time.
No, it wasn't Rick and Morty. There was a show.
Shirley Jones is 89. She is alive.
She's from Pittsburgh, you know.
Wade's dad has a story.
So does my aunt, my late aunt.
If only
Ruth.
he were here to tell it.
My Aunt Ruth went to high school with her, if I'm not mistaken. Mom, is that correct?
Wade's dad rode on the Ferris wheel with her at the fair.
Yeah, it's Sharon.
And Sharon.
So.
Ooh.
Did they kiss?
I don't think so.
Are you one of the Cassidy boys?
Can you break the Ferris wheel?
I doubt that. I don't see how that happened.
Yeah, because she wasn't a Cassidy. That's true.
Yeah, the biology of that is questionable.
Yeah, I think were Sean and David Cassidy, they were half brothers.
They were half brothers. Yeah.
Jack Cassidy was both of their dads. But
and Shirley Jones was David Cassidy's mom. I don't remember who
she was.
Sean's mom was.
Sean Cassidy. She's Sean's mother.
No, she's David's mother because they were in the Partridge Family together.
She was his stepmother.
No, you're thinking of Florence Henderson.
No.
and Alice the housekeeper. That's who you're thinking of. Yeah.
And she went to the same school that I went to.
She did.
In Ambridge.
And people knew her. She lived there in the 80s.
Eric, have you listened to the Bill Hader version, the Bill Hader edition of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend?
I have not.
It is one of them. That and the Jeff Goldblum one are two of the absolute
tail end of the Jeff Goldblum, and I really do. I have heard the Questlove one twice, and I enjoy that one.
Where he references Jeff Goldblum.
Does, absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna start listening to the podcasts. Actually, as they are podcasts, because the car is very random as far as what I'm getting.
The Bill Hader one, they're reminiscing about so many Saturday Night Live things, and it is just absolutely hysterical.
You're right. David Cassidy's mom was Evelyn Ward. I always thought that
Evelyn Ward. My dad went on a Ferris wheel with.
My dad did the bumper cars with Evelyn Ward.
Is that code?
Hey, why is our story getting picked on when everybody has a story about everybody else? What?
We don't have a drop for Shirley Jones.
What do you mean our story? It's Wade's story. You don't have anything to do with this.
I'm married in.
Married in.
He heard it from me.
My dad knocked over a couple
In fact, it's Wade's dad's story.
Yeah, what do you mind?
My dad and my mom were seeing the Smothers Brothers once in Beaver Falls at the Beaver Falls at Geneva, I think, actually.
Who was it?
The Smothers Brothers.
Oh yeah, they were there. I remember. I didn't go see them.
Oh boy, were they funny!
Yeah, they were there.
Prime
it
in
was
the
like
60s.
It was like 1961 or 58.
In the 60s, when they were at their peak, oh man, there was nothing funnier on television.
Mom loved you better. Mom loved you
Yep.
better.
That was funny.
I still remember if you've ever seen the Who performance when they were on the show, and of course Pete Townsend in those days would smash his guitar at the end of the show, and Tom comes up and goes, "Dick, can I borrow your bass?"
My mom says they were there for homecoming. What year was that, Mother? So they had the Smothers Brothers for Geneva homecoming, and Eric was taking pictures.
Remember Yo-Yo Man?
There, that's fun.
Oh, yeah,
Remember when Tom Smothers used to do Yo-Yo Man?
No.
I do.
Yeah, he would do this whole routine where he would be doing this comedy while he was playing with a yo-yo. It was really
And
wild.
this weird music playing behind him.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
He became Yo-Yo Ma. No, too soon. All right.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Ben Stiller is very hit or miss, Adam. In the right role, Ben Stiller can be absolutely hysterical. And I highly recommend the Ben Stiller show. I think it only lasted one season.
Yes.
But its highlights are absolutely hysterical. In movies, he's done some real turkeys like Walter Mitty and a few others. But he's done some that are really good, too.
Yeah, he's an amazing director. Like, writing is on or off, but any movie he touches just
Well,
visually.
and he did Severance, too, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's not in it.
Yeah.
No, he's not in it.
And that's okay. His parents were brilliant in different ways, and he is.
Oh, I loved Stiller and Mira.
Oh my God.
Oh man, them and Bob and Ray. There's certain comedy teams I was just absolutely in love with, and yeah, Stiller and Mira were hysterical. I loved her sort of deadpan humor against his sort of mania, and it was really fun.
He was funnier with her than he was on like The King of Queens and.
He was.
Not on Seinfeld.
Even Seinfeld, he was just too much.
They were clearly a pair that worked better as a pair.
Yeah.
I also thought Ben Stiller had the best cameo on Friends, but Dave doesn't like them, so I'm not going to talk about it.
No, you can talk about
it.
You're just wrong.
It's fine, yeah.
Eric loved Friends.
Didn't Tom Cruise have the best cameo in Tropic Thunder, which was a...
Oh, man.
Stiller?
You could not get away with that movie today. Oh,
no.
Which is a darn shame, because it's kind of the point of the movie.
Yeah,
I know it is. That's the sad part. Is Robert Downey Jr. in the... Oh, man.
The man playing a man disguised as another man. and Tom Cruise said, I'll be in it, but I just want to have fat hands and do hip-hop dancing. That was the one thing he requested.
No, if they made the movie today, they would have a black guy playing a white guy playing an Australian guy playing the actual black character, and find a way to have them be white.
And people would still be picketing.
Right, exactly.
Right, because everything's on strike. Drew Barrymore's show is being picketed right now.
That's right. They actually kicked a couple.
She went back on the air.
Pins.
Oh, she went back on the air.
Yeah, she's like, my staff needs to get paid. I mean, we're not going to use writers.
And you can do a talk show without writers.
That's true. Yeah.
If you're good enough. Not everyone can.
I think writing questions is still writing.
Right.
So like she would have the way Jay Leno did it was he wrote his own jokes and he had his own like he just interviewed people. Like Bill Maher's doing his podcast where he's just he had a great one with Carrot Top of all people the other day. He's just sitting in his basement talking to people. There's no.
Yeah, I mean Letterman at his peak could carry on a hysterical conversation with anybody.
Well, he's still doing it. That's how you know.
And that's the thing. It's the conversation. If you go in with no preconceived questions, okay, but
remember Craig Ferguson, the first thing he used to do was he'd take the blue cards, tear them in half, and throw them over his shoulder. That was his. He's like, we're not going to do that, and he would just improvise the entire interview.
Oh, either that or he'd have green cards on his table.
I mean, I'm sure there was some pre-done stuff, but he improvised a ton.
Yeah,
I kind of like what Jon Stewart always did with the card, like just pretending to be writing something down. Get one in his fist and throw it over his shoulder every once in a while.
Yeah, but no breaking glass sound effect. So
it's true.
True.
Craig Ferguson, the harmonica, is probably one of my favorite talk shows.
What did we learn on the show tonight, Craig?
Do you like my Morgan Freeman impression?
Oh, and he was too. And then when they had Jeff Peterson on, the robot designed by the late great Grant Imahara, a robot sidekick. What a bizarre and brilliant approach,
I
man.
Love that. He went to USC. Hey,
the robot, the
Grant Imahara, yeah.
Oh.
No, the robot.
Mar is still very funny to me, Adam, but there's no question that he is pretty stuck on himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is he's drinking and getting high, so you have to watch about 40 minutes in, it gets much funnier.
Okay.
You gotta be tweeting.
It also depends on who he has on. I mean, he's had people from political people to like Carrot Top. He made a comment. No one would ever have him on radio. Like he'd go to clubs all over the country and they'd be like, "Oh, you're a prop. We can't put you on the radio. I mean, how are you gonna do your props?" He's like, "I'm still a person. I can still answer questions and tell stories. I don't have to do my props."
It'd actually be really interesting to see if we could do a comparison between the top episodes during the strike versus the top episodes during the pandemic for any of these talk shows. See what's more entertaining.
Well, most talk shows are still off the air
right
during the strike. There's very few that have come back.
Well, right, because most of the hosts are like, we're going to
any
guys.
that were union writers.
Well, exactly. And most of these talk show hosts at the late night shows, not necessarily the daytime, but the late night shows, almost all these guys, Conan O'Brien, Jon Stewart, although he's not on his thing, they came up as writers.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna cross that line.
Right.
It's true.
So is that your pacemaker, Dave? What is making that noise?
It's the computer from Star Trek working.
I have no idea. I don't hear a thing.
Well, that's why we kept muting you.
I thought it was just because you hated me.
No. No, that's
okay.
That too. But
it sounds like you're playing an old internet flash game and your spacebar got stuck.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I thought you had your own wheel.
I will try moving the microphone and see if that makes any difference.
He's constantly spinning his own
It
wheel.
sounded like you had that or maybe a fidget spinner.
Maybe we'll come up eventually.
You have a fidget spinner?
I'm just sitting here.
I'm just sitting here. He's
Well,
just
no
a
echo.
boy.
I'm just a boy.
Computer.
I just need someone to talk
Looking
to.
for a mouse. No, I'm kidding.
It's the only way me and Amanda talk.
Oh my goodness. Y'all be crazy now.
Because you brought up swingers.
Does it happen even when I'm not saying anything?
No,
That's
it's
what it
not
was
happening
happening.
now.
Right
And
now
it
it's
wasn't
not
happening when a bit ago when we were discussing it. It just was periodic for a bit before that.
Okay.
It's not constant. Yeah. I don't know.
MI6.
Mission
not the
Impossible
CIA?
6? They're up to 6 already?
Oh, yeah.
Right? That doesn't count parts.
I'm so confused.
It's okay, Eric.
Well,
We're
that's
talking
right.
about
You just
sports.
watched The Big Short.
It
We
is
have a
very-
movie yet for next week.
Ah,
yet?
no, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, Superman.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god.
I think I just saw a picture.
Superman, the movie.
Hey!
Yay! Woohoo!
Starring Fat Marlon
Did we
Brando with
have
hair.
this discussion while I was writhing in pain over here about who everybody's favorite Superman is?
Not yet. That's next
That
week.
is an
Are
excellent
we
topic.
saving it for next week?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to know right now.
That is a great.
Well, obviously, it is the Nicolas Cage Superman that fought this giant
I don't-
spider in the Flash movie.
Dean Cain was very good.
Dean Cain was the one that I grew up on.
Dean Cain was very good. I can't and the pairing with Terry Hatcher was really inspired.
She was a great Superman. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think Chris Reeves is definitely the role model for me, but
My problem with Chris Reeves is he's really not a very good actor, to be blunt.
I've never seen this one, so I'm excited to watch it.
He certainly looks the role, and he certainly is. He has charm coming out of every pore, but he's a mediocre actor, in my opinion.
it's a throwback look, to be sure. Like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
Superman ran out in spandex in the 80s, you'd be like, okay, he's going to yoga. Like, it's more, a little bit more like Conan or something.
And
It's
I'll
really
say this again
interesting.
next week. Brandon Routh, when they came out with the Superman Returns, which is
Yeah.
basically Superman 3, they ignored everything from the 3, 4.
Good.
It was
What,
right after
they
Superman
ignored
2.
Richard Pryor?
Yeah, they ignored all of that.
Retcon. You can't retcon Pryor out of yours.
Well, they did. And I thought Brandon Routh actually did a good job, and he looked a little bit like
He
Christopher
wasn't
Reeve.
bad. He was a little stiff.
But then
But he
he
wasn't
ended
bad.
up.
Christopher Reeves.
But then he ended up being on part of the DC universe,
Right.
That's right.
And then didn't they also, when they did a multiverse, wasn't he another one of the Supermen?
Mm-hmm. He wasn't in the movie. The
Michael
Flash
Keaton
movie.
was the best.
I thought in the Flash they showed that he was Batman.
Michael
I
Keaton
thought in
was
the
the-
Flash they showed the Brandon Routh Superman.
I thought they did.
No, in the Flash they show Christopher Reeves as Superman with what's her face as Supergirl.
Right, but
And
they
then-
showed George Reeves also, and they showed Brandon Routh. I thought in one point.
George Reeves was fun. He was a little bit rotund to be playing Superman.
He
Yes,
was perfect.
He looked healthy.
Wow.
He did look healthy. I
He
love
had a little bit of that extra krypton around his waist.
he also
cancer.
he wore the same suit every episode because that way they didn't have to edit when he jumped out the same window.
See how this tuning.
Should we watch the I Love Lucy episode with
Oh, that was great.
George Reeves?
That was the best.
My favorite my favorite Superman episode was when Lois Lane figures it out.
And then she
Actually,
wakes
like-
up.
It's Christopher Reeve, Adam's great. It's Christopher Reeve and George Reeves.
But I also liked how she figures it out in the second movie.
And Keanu Reeves was supposed to play Superman also, but he decided not to.
I really would like a 3.
I'm kind of glad because he already played Superman. in,
And didn't Reeve Witherspoon play it?
Reese Witherspoon.
Reeve Witherspoon, actually.
I'm so
There's also movie 49. They had a Batman Superman sketch. No, movie 43. That's what it's called.
Oh, I only saw 42.
And Mad Magazine had Super Duper Man.
Super duper man.
And the monkeys had the super monkeys. Oh no,
Oh, yeah, the Monkey
They were
Men.
the Monkey
Monkey
Men.
Men.
monkey man.
Monkey Man.
And they put glasses on.
Stadium area.
No, that's true.
And then there's Underdog.
Yeah.
And what about the king of them all, Captain Hindsight?
Well,
He's got good vision.
to Adam's just comment is, if I said Roush was stiff, Cavill is stiff squared.
Direction of traffic.
Problem is he's
Aye.
British.
It's risky.
See, he's British. He's trying to have an American accent. That's the problem.
He should have a
I freaking
Kryptonian
love
accent,
Henry
not a
Exactly.
British accent.
And the oncoming plane.
Henry
Green
Cavill is
Green,
actually really underrated. I love Henry Cavill.
There you go.
I don't think he's a bad actor. I just don't like him as Superman.
It's like drift without the drift. It's a drift cord.
Wild.
Yeah, look at all of them.
Oh yeah, I forgot John Krasinski played him in a DC League movie.
Wait, did he?
George Reeves
Tom
also
Welling.
looks a tad
Tom Welling was Superman in Smallville, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Tim Daly. What did Tim? Oh, Justice League. Of course. Okay.
And if Reagan,
John
were here,
Krasinski.
she would say
Yeah.
that Brandon Routh was in Chuck.
Wait, why? When did John Krasinski play Superman?
That's what I was just
It was in
trying.
a DC animated.
No.
It's an animated. It was.
Oh,
animated.
Yeah, some of these are voiceovers.
Yeah, some of these are voiceovers.
That's
All
so
right.
Talking
wild.
about Superman.
Oh,
Charlie Sheen was Superman in Hot Shots,
I
apparently.
watched that one.
In Hot Shots.
Oh,
John Krasinski played him in the Super Pets movie that came out this year.
Oh,
we're not gonna watch that.
my. Oh,
Who played
my.
Krypton then?
There it is.
I think
There
it
it
was
is.
the
Charlie
Reeves.
Sheen as Superman.
Oh my gosh.
That's a
Hey
T.
Lois, you want to go out get some weed?
Oh, I hate it.
Man,
Wow.
super.
Can you read my mind? Can you
I said
tell
Brandon
me?
Routh was on Chuck and Reagan came flying down the steps.
So it's like a Beetlejuice thing.
Wow.
He
We
was
thought we were
also
watching that Superman.
he's also one of the boyfriends on Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes, we know.
Brie Larson's
You
girl.
guys can watch as many Supermans as you want.
Just
Well-
make sure you watch the one from 1970.
I'll watch the movie and I might seek out the I Love Lucy.
Now, Adam brings up a point here. Tom Welling wasn't Superman in Smallville. He was Clark Kent the entire series. But isn't Clark Kent Superman?
Hey,
You have to wear the
Taylor.
costume?
Well, this is the Peter Parker argument for Tobey Maguire versus Andrew Garfield. Like, I think everyone thinks Tobey Maguire is the better Peter Parker, but Andrew Garfield's the better
Yes.
Superman. Spider-Man.
He was Superman too.
Right?
Superman
Never knew.
also.
He was wearing a mask the whole time.
Well, we will
Once
watch
Disney
it.
buys up the DCEU, then they'll start having those kind of crossovers.
Oh my god.
We will watch it, but Wade and I will be on an airplane to California.
Oh, wow. Winging
You're
your
in
way to the
California,
coast.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I ever saw RDJ's Iron Man and Henry Cavill's Superman in the same movie, like, wow, that'd be crazy.
At work today, the security guards up front, we have a big screen TV at the entrance, but we have so few people coming into the office these days that nobody cares what they have on. They'll have, if there's a ball game on, they'll have it on. Sometimes they'll have on daytime talk shows. I'm not sure which station it was today. They were watching all of the Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Fantastic Four movies.
Oh, gosh.
That's awesome.
Oh my god. You're
Yeah.
on fire! You think?
My mom mentioned that on Days of Our Lives, Dick Van Dyke has been on.
Really?
Wow.
Playing John Black's father.
Huh.
Oh.
But then after the episode of Days of Our Lives, they're playing the Dick Van Dyke Show because it's all on Peacock, so you can watch whatever you want.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and
Aye.
apparently soap operas can stay on because they obviously don't have writers.
Well, I think no, they're under a different union contract.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
daytime
the
is
soap
under-
actors
is different.
guild. SAG.
So Dave mentioned Jessica Alba, and I found out just earlier today through the wonders of TikTok that there's a movie with Jessica Alba, Haley Steinfeld, and Samuel Jackson called
Barely
Barely Lethal.
It's so
Oh yeah,
good.
it's pretty
Reagan
funny.
likes
I've
it.
seen it.
So good, bro.
Okay,
Is Reagan going to just stand on the background and not be on the show ever again?
We can
I
see
see
her
her
in the
reflection.
window.
No, I'm on the window with Brandon Routh. I got him on the TV.
I'm totally watching this movie this week.
What's it called?
Barely Lethal. It's
I
a
have
play.
it. You can't find it on DVD anywhere, so I have it downloaded, but it's so good. That's
I
fine.
have it illegally pirated. Like that's
You obtained a copy through undisclosed means.
I was loaned a copy by a friend named Internet.
Yes, I was just laying. Yes,
As did I. So I will definitely have my comments next week about Barely Lethal. I'm super excited. I mean,
It's so like cheesy and everything. Sophie Turner's in it too.
oh man.
He's in it, and then
Oh, poor Joe Jonas.
Somebody else is in it too. There's some other famous person. But it was good.
Cameron's
Dove Cameron. Yeah, Dove Cameron. It was good. It was like kind of cheesy, but I just really liked it.
I'm totally watching this. I'm so excited.
I want to watch it now.
Yeah, come on over.
I'm not allowed to drive, so pick me up.
I'll come to you. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Awesome.
All right, my mom just found out the Smothers Brothers Geneva College homecoming, and I just Googled it and I couldn't find it. So congrats, Mom, for doing some serious sleuthing. 1964.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's that long ago.
I didn't get to.
I believe they were sitting at the bar at the Beaver Falls Hotel.
Wow.
How did you not find that? I just Googled it and it was the first thing that came up.
What'd you type in?
Geneva College Smothers Brothers.
Oh, I didn't type that in.
I typed in Smothers Brothers concert my mom saw with.
Next week on the EriDan Film Festival, how to use the internet.
Oh, this is like those turning into your parents' commercials, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Awesome.
I'm with Adam on preferring Tom Holland of the Spider-Man because he said he actually looks the age.
Yes.
Of what Peter Parker.
I thought Tobey Maguire was really good, but I agree Tom Holland might be the best.
He's just so cute and he's goofy enough. And
he gets the look of
and he's dating Zendaya. I mean,
that's just weird.
I think the way that Cody kind of just like described it once it made sense is like Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker. Like personality wise, and Adam Garfield was the best Spider-Man, where Tom Holland was like the perfect combination of the two.
Interesting.
What was the name of the guy that played him on the TV show? Because I thought he was the best in the 70s.
You mean the animated show?
No, the live action one.
I don't remember that one.
What about Japanese Spider-Man? No one's
What
ever seen
How about
Japanese
Peter
Spider-Man?
Porker?
He's not as good as Indian Batman. Indian Batman is amazing. No one's seen Indian Bat. Oh my God, Eric!
Yeah,
I am
watch that. That sounds pretty good.
I am sending this to Eric because Eric, we had to watch this.
What? Sorry, I'm trying to find the Smothers Brothers, a picture of the Smothers Brothers at Geneva College.
You guys are not ready for it.
And I did find one, but it's incredibly small. But it's in the yearbook apparently from 1964.
Play it.
That's where I saw it. I saw an old somebody posted it somewhere. A picture.
Yeah,
of
I believe that.
My mom said Google Geneva College, Jerry Stiller, and Mira.
Wow.
Apparently they were there too.
Wow.
Well, they were there. They were the happening place. The CMU, when I was there, used to have a spring concert every year. And usually it was somebody interesting. They had King Crimson one year. They had Carlos Santana. They had a lot of interesting acts. Some clever person got the bright idea. Before the official posters went up, they started printing up fake posters and putting them all around campus that Menudo was coming to CMU. And there was actually a huge backlash. It was hysterical. It was a great prank.
I'm trying to use a mouse left-handed. It's not my friend.
Oh.
I keep like backing out of it.
You need mind control with your mouse. Just automate everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
I've got this.
What a night in the
theater. Jerry.
Batman, you make me so happy.
I love Hin.
Yeah.
Hey, Amelia Earhart came to Geneva College and spoke last week. I'm kidding.
Last week.
Oh, look what Stacy wrote. He looks so young, and so do you, Dan. That was written 12 years ago.
I know.
Of course, the picture's from 2000. So
Dan, are you wearing a sash in that picture? I'm sorry.
That was like a bowling shirt.
I'm wearing one of my comedy shirts.
I am your Seinfeld diplomat.
He's playing Charlie Sheen on 2.5
runner-up.
Yes.
He's one of the half men. Yeah.
Which half?
What other? Wait, hold on. Let's see what else we have here. There's Mickey Dolenz.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie Gibson.
Oh.
Eric has a similar one.
I did.
And then here's me when I was
part
of the cast before Brad Garrett. I was and 12
you
years
were tall
ago.
enough in that picture.
You were the tall Jew.
I'm the tall
This is
Jew.
like the Flash. Remember Dan Rosen?
Peter Boyle. I love Peter Boyle.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's Stacy's comment. I never saw this one before. Very cool.
He is brilliant in Young Frankenstein. That is
Oh,
just, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted a
That's
tall
like
Jew.
80 name drops in a row. I don't even know what to say.
This would be another good
You are really good with Photoshop, Dan. I give you a lot of credit.
Like that?
Super name drop.
Adam, I talked to Rafi yesterday, so hopefully we will have a clutch in the next week or two.
See if you can get Rafi fired, then you'll get your show back.
No.
Oh, he's only gone till December.
Oh, okay.
Gone till December. No,
he's just a professor for the fall semester.
Professor Rafi.
What's he teaching?
Industrial design.
Okay, we talked about that. I remember
art
that.
and stuff. Yeah.
How do you design an industry? I'll show you.
My cousin, best industry designer in the entire country.
We make whole factories out of potato.
We make factories that make models of small factories.
In Russia, factory makes you.
And makes her own potatoes.
Wait, do you want my picture with Yakov Smirnoff? Let me pull that out. I have one.
That's exactly what he was asking for.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can find it. How fast I can find it. There's Zach Galifianakis. That doesn't count.
Also on my watch list for this week is going to be Diner. I've never seen Diner. 1982.
Didn't Tom directed that?
Yeah.
Tom
Diner
okay.
makes me 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon.
No.
Diner?
I barely know.
I knew her.
I'm apparently 3 degrees away from Danny Elfman now. My
Sure.
Are you 3 degrees from Danny Elfman?
I actually am now. my cousin is dating his daughter, and they have
and his brother, Danny Manelf.
I like Danny Elfman. Boingo.
He's cool. I like it.
Well, and a billion soundtrack. Every Tim Burton movie, pretty much, right?
I was an extra on the Jenna Elfman show.
Really?
Yes, you were.
Dharma and Greg. My elbow made it in.
Really?
Yeah.
Everything else got cut, but you can see my elbow in a blue sweater.
My mom still talks about that, how she watched that, and she hated that show. And she was he wasn't even on there. I said his elbow was, but
My elbow.
His elbow was.
This name drop is sponsored in part by Aglets. Oh yeah, baby. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
This is the EriDan name drop.
It is, I was gonna say.
It's EriDan After Dark.
Yeah.
No, name drop.
That's right.
Cards Against EriDan.
I get why it's done, but it's interesting to see Christopher Reeve
Superman.
get third billing on Superman when he's the title character. Well, Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando were much.
And Brando was like what, there for one day and made like
$1 million,
$1 jillion.
I purposely reordered it when I made this because I knew people would bring it up if Christopher Reeve was third.
Yeah, I don't think Jed East was fourth.
Oh my god.
According to Wikipedia, Jeff East.
Yeah, Margot Kidder isn't anywhere to be found on there.
Who cares?
What movie am I describing? Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Christian Bale. It's Batman Begins, duh.
Yeah.
Good movie, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Me neither. I saw it in Ambridge at the theater that was in Ambridge back in the day, and it was like being on a train. It was just this little narrow theater. It was really cool.
Michael Caine is a really interesting actor. He has been in some brilliant roles. He's not very discriminating though, so he's been in some total garbage.
You don't blink.
Yeah. No, he was in Jaws 4. Jaws the Revenge.
You never blink.
But I think
Power 3.
But he did the Ipcris File. He did, which I love. He did obviously Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. He's done some great stuff.
Didn't he do The Hand?
He did do The Hand.
Was that him where the hand gets detached from the guy?
Yeah. That's
Adam.
Oh, man. Now you don't have to watch. He just saved you an hour and a half.
Or is Clark Kent Superman?
Superman is on Max.
It is on Max.
My mom just asked.
Well, it's DC, so.
It's Warner Brothers, yeah.
All right. Are we done? I think we've driven this thing into the ground, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm in pain. I'm out. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for coming despite the pain.
Brittany, I think we're all in pain.
but not like you. Take some drugs.
Yes, take care.
All right, I'll see you guys next
Walk
week.
carefully. Be good.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you. All right, we will see you all next week for Superman, and we'll pick a double feature next week. What?
Already?
Oh my gosh! So yes.
No.
So next week. Yes.
I'll win it again.
Don't know me.
It's the 18th.
Huh?
Yeah, 1825. So
I have no idea what's going on.
I guess we don't have a 32nd. Yeah, there's no September 32nd.
30 days past September. Yeah.
Only on a leap year, Dan.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye.
September has 50 days in a leap year.
Question the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet.
Eric wants to end it. Let him do it.
Yes. Next week, we will choose a double feature. Week after that, we'll talk TVs.
And I will say to you, Stacy, it's not the best episode, but I'm sure you'll want to watch the Ross Martin episode of Twilight Zone.
There's two.
There's two? I'm only aware of the one with the four of us must die or whatever it's called.
Four of us are dying.
Are
and
dying.
The other one has Jack Klugman in it. And I can't remember the name of it.
Well, there's the Jack Klugman one with Jonathan Winters, but I don't think that's one.
That's the Odd Zone.
I will see you on the Ferris wheel. Sophie
that
Turner. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.